Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we're playing e4 as per usual. Our opponent plays e5. We're going to play knight f3 here, putting pressure on the e-pawn and a Philidor, invented originally, I believe, by a man named François-André Daniquin Philidor, and played in the game, played at Bellini's Opera in 1858, Paul Morphy versus the Duke of Brunswick and Count Isard, the opera game, one of the most famous games in chess. And the reason I bring this up is because bishop g4 is exactly the move played in that game, and it has since been analysed to be at least a little bit inaccurate. I'm going to take here. They might just develop the knight, in which case I think this line's actually playable. It's a gambit of a pawn. There we go. Okay, fair. Where potentially, if I take, they can develop the bishop, they can get really speedy development, and I might be left a little bit lacking, as they say. What if I play bishop c4, though? I'm going to do it. Bishop c4. If you take here, I might take this. Hang my queen, bishop f7, king e7, bishop g5 check. No. Because then knight f6. Not that at all. Takes, sack my queen, bishop f7, the king moves, take that knight. Bang. How about that? Queen sack, move 6, what more do you want? Like and subscribe, we're going to win this game beautifully. Now, this is a very scary queen sacrifice because there is not a forced mate here. After I take like this, the king has to come up, and imagining the knight wasn't on the board, let's say the knight was on h6 for instance, bishop g5 would be a disgusting, saucy looking checkmate with the minor pieces. However, if I go bishop g5 now, there is just knight f6, my knight is hanging, my bishop is going to be hanging if I move my knight, I'm down a queen, I'm not winning the queen. Let's get rid of the knight. It's not going to be mate, but if you recapture here, then bonjour. Bishop g5 will actually win the queen, there is no way to then block. And so at this point, they take like this, they defend their bishop. I play bishop g5. Because what else were you going to do? We'll analyse this afterwards, but I think, hold on, maybe I messed it up. Somehow. What were you going to do with the king? Like, the king has no moves, except from, I guess, this. And if you move the queen, then presumably you're just getting mated somehow. Yeah, imagine that. Oh, if they move the queen, they just get mated. So they kind of had to take the knight. We go check, the king moves. I'm obviously now going to take the queen. Rook takes and they defend the bishop, but I'm a pawn up. So if I just save my bishop here and save this pawn, am I not just a pawn up in an endgame? Admittedly, I don't have a bishop pair. What on earth? Okay, I think we go bishop b3. This is a beautiful place for the bishop anyway. And now, I guess they can go check. Yeah. But if I play c3, we threaten both their bishops at the same time. Ooh. Bonsoir. Or should I say bon matin, this is the morning when I'm recording this. I'm going to play c3, block the check, threaten both the bishops. They take like this. Which bishop do I take? Oh, it's not even close to a debate because if I take here, I get sourced with rook d1. Also, this allows me to open my a file. Also, this is now just hanging and has to move and defends the pawn. I might have messed this up. c3 might not have been a great resource. Because yeah, we're down a pawn, but it's just doubled now. So, don't know about that. However, what I do know is that they can't castle, which maybe they wouldn't even want to castle because this is an endgame and they want their king active and in the centre. I could play b4, forcing bishop b6. Their bishop looks great on b6, I'll be completely honest. But then knight d2 and knight c4, we hit the bishop, we hit the pawn here. Let's go for that. b4. We got the dark squared pawns here, nice and spiky. Now, knight d2 to play knight c4 looks like a beautiful move. Oh, okay. Or not. Oh, and if I castle, I just hang my knight. Why did I not just castle earlier? Okay, I guess we have f3 actually. And yeah, we weaken this diagonal, but like I'm not actually castling over there. I might castle this way. I might play king c2. Get the rook on the d file. Let's play f3. Let's play f3. We're getting super secure here with the pawns. Oh, they give the check anyway to allow the infiltration of the rook. That is filthy. But I don't have to take this. I can just play king e2. Lift the king up. And I mean, let's say you just move your bishop here. It's going to be the same position, but I have a king on e2, which is doubtless a good thing. Because I don't want to castle anyway. So they move the bishop out this way. Maybe to come back to f6 to hold this pawn. But I think this is where our knight maybe comes alive a little. Put a rook on the d-file. My king's on e2, which is actually already one step closer to the centre than our opponent's king. This is an isolated pawn. I like my position. I think knight c4 is an extremely natural and extremely strong follow-up. In an endgame like this, it's quite fun. You get to really sort of boil down... Oh, wow. I was going to say you get to boil down the sort of difference in your position to a very simplistic difference. I have an extra pawn. Admittedly, it's doubled. I have a knight for a bishop, which is the main tango going on here, the main dynamic between my opponent and I, is the difference in minor pieces. I'm a little confused because this pawn is now hanging. And I mean, this pawn was hanging before. I didn't actually need to play knight c4. I could have taken this pawn. If I take it now, though, I'm a little worried because they can kick my knight with b5. Let's say I take this pawn. They go check. I go here. I'd really rather not allow their rook in. So it could be wise just to play rook d1. But then if we see a trade, I'm no longer on the a file. You can play a6, you can defend the pawn, although 2 pawns are still hanging. The question is, do I grab this pawn? Do I grab this pawn? Do I play rook d1? That is definitely the set of moves that I'd like to consider here, I think. If I grab this, b5 seems like the obvious follow-up. Oh, but I have knight e3. And there's just no... Yeah, okay, we're grabbing this pawn, boys. If b5, I do not need to like grab another pawn. We can just play knight e3. Blocking the bishop's defense of d2. There's no infiltration with the rook. Yes, you could trade the bishop for the knight, but at this point, I'm now 2 pawns up. And my rook's extremely active. Knight e3, and if you don't take, then oh, baby. Look at these squares we're accessing. I think this is just a well-handled endgame. They defend this pawn now. I mean, come on. That has got to be some kind of joke. We can go here, threaten the pawn. If they push the pawn, we could trade off for this rook, and we could just play this. We could also play rook d1. h4 might be a move. Although, completely honestly, I'd really rather not lose my knight for this bishop. I think this bishop is being surprisingly useless, and my knight is actually an extremely strong piece. Here, here, here. King takes. Where am I going then? Where am I going with the knight? If I give a check, I'm just getting my knight trapped. It seems I do have to, unfortunately, regress to e3. It would be a forced trade. I could just play rook here, though. I sort of give up the a file. I've also got check. This check might just be really strong. There are so many good moves here. Rook here, probably rook a1, probably rook d1, probably knight d5. Like, I could play any of these moves, probably even h4. I could play absolutely any of these moves. So why don't I just pick one and play it? Let's give the check. Why not? We're in an endgame up 2 pawns. I think the check makes sense. They move the king. I'm just going to grab that. Just trade that off. And then here, rook d1. If you take here, I take the rook first, so as not to, you know what I mean, hang my rook. And if they've taken here, then I take backwards with the knight, such that if king takes, or to not play king takes, because then my knight would hang. Now I just own the board. I can go check. They have to do this unless they want to trade again. What if I do this now? You go back to here, maybe? Honestly, boys, it's rook d8. The king comes up, potentially, and then I could just go here. My rook holds this square, and my rook holds this square. So you have to put your rook here. Yeah, knight f5. The only square for the rook is e6. And then, importantly, my rook is then hanging, but I have check, and it can come across, and the knife is... Or the knight, I mean, I just completely misspoke and said knife. Forgive me for that clearly Freudian slip, because of course this is a sharp piece, doing some serious, serious damage. And I think we just see resignation. I mean, rook e6 is your only move. We go check. We can then just take here. Unless rook e6, check... I don't know, you block with the bishop, takes. Yeah, I mean, give me that. Give me that. This is just, it's just sad. Sad to witness. Now, we don't have a fork, because I lose my rook, and then my knight, and I'm just down a piece. Let's just grab another pawn, I think. And let's grab this one, such that we still have the threat of the fork here. If we grab this one, then there's no threat of the fork. So threat of the fork is excellent. Also, we're just threatening to win a pawn. So you can't move the pawn because I still fork. If you go bishop here, we just take. There's a fork. You have to take with the bishop. Rook takes. Okay, or not. Oh, and it defends the rook. Resignation, 3, 2, 1. Resignation, 3, 2, 1. Resignation, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can't win them all. They might have rage quit. Yeah, oh my god, wait, they actually did rage quit. Look, your opponent left the game. You can claim victory in 13 seconds. That is so funny. And of course, we're going to claim that victory. Our opponent rage quitting because of just how well the pony danced. Let's analyze that game. Okay, so here we are in the analysis. 97% accuracy with a singular inaccuracy, which I will wear as a badge of honor. I'll be honest, it's been a while on the channel since I've had a really perfect looking game. I've been playing a lot more extremely dubious chess, which is, of course, I guess what you're here to see. But that was just clinical. Okay, let's go through this game quickly. So e4, e5, knight f3, and then d6, the Philidor defense, d4 of course, and then bishop g4. Now this is really not played at the master level. I mean, ed4 is hugely the most popular move. Bishop g4 is played a total of 40 out of 5,746 times. Taking here, and the point is, if they take here, take back, and bishop c4, this is the opera game, as I mentioned at the start. And if they go knight f6, quite a natural move trying to defend the mate threat, then of course we have queen b3 as the opera game went, put pressure on here. And if they go queen e7, we don't even need to take here because, you know, that would have been the style of a butcher, not of Paul Morphy. Knight c3, of course. They go here defending this, and then, you know, the opera game. Beautiful sacrifice. I just love this game. I just love this game so much. Pins everywhere. Anyway, I'm clearly not alone in loving that game. It's probably the most famous chess game of all time. Takes here, knight here. I was aware that this is actually a playable line where, effectively, if I now take here, they can take with the bishop. They've got 3 pieces developed. They can play knight f6 maybe quite easily. And, you know, this is an interesting way to play as black. I don't mind this. But, of course, we play bishop c4 instead of taking on d6. They took here, and we played the beautiful move, knight takes knight, sacrificing the queen to play check. The king comes up, and then importantly, if we'd given this bishop g5 check here, knight f6, and I am completely and utterly lost. No, no, no. We take the knight. They recapture here. I then go check. They move the king. We take the queen. Apparently their best move was instead king d7, which I don't completely understand what difference that makes. I guess the king's close to the center in an endgame, and so... No, but then I can just take this. Oh, but then they take here, and then... I guess actually their king's a step close to the center in the endgame. Anyway, they go back, we take the queen, they recapture, I save my bishop, defending the pawn, and they go check. I play c3, attack the bishop. Oh, was this best? Takes with pawn, bishop back, b4 best. Here, this is a bit inaccurate. Because of course they could have played this. They played rook here first. They only found that idea a move too late when it didn't actually win them a pawn. Okay, that was a bit dumb of me. I should have gone for knight a3, still angling for c4, the same idea, but just not blundering the looseness of the knight on d2 as my king's overworked defending f2 and d2. So, okay, admittedly that inaccuracy, there's nothing sexy about that. That's just a slightly suboptimal move. However, I still would have been winning. The rook goes here. We play f3, best move, and from here on out, it's perfect. Here, king goes up. Here, knight goes up. Oh, take the pawn. Here, knight back. Beautiful. Check, here, take, here, rook there. What are you going to do? You're not going to... If you trade rooks, I mean, we just take. I'm 2 pawns up. I have the knight against the bishop. The knight can go and attack this light square pawn, which will never be moved and never be defended by a dark square bishop. So, of course, when we claim the d-file, our opponent stepped off it. We go here, put the knight on f5. The rook goes here. Check. The king moves. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Give me that rook. And of course, even if they'd taken, we just take here. I have 4 extra pawns in a rook and pawn endgame. My rook's better and my king's better. There is nothing that our opponent has here. But of course, I was about to say, of course, they resigned. They didn't resign. They rage quit in this position after just losing everything to a beautifully dancing knight and a beautifully active rook. Thank you so much for watching this game. Hopefully you really enjoyed watching it. I think it was satisfying in a lot of ways. It was definitely extremely satisfying to play. Like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you smash that like button. You know what I'm saying? If this video gets 600,000 likes, I will shave my head. For those of you watching my shorts who desperately are asking for the playlist, this is the official statement right now that I'm going to publish on my channel, is that the playlist will be released when I hit 100k subscribers. We've already burst past the 50k mark. 53k I believe is going to be hit today, and at a rate of roughly 400 or 500 subscribers a day, it might be only 3 to 4 months until we hit 100k, which would be unbelievable. However, of course, it is December. YouTube is a very lucrative place to be in December comparative to the rest of the year. So of course, I'm expecting the progress to slow down, but within the next year, I think it's a guaranteed thing. I think it's a sure thing. Anyway, I'm gonna keep pushing, keep grinding. One day, I will get that silver play button, which, oh my, the day that happens, I'll be a very happy man. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.